track is hot and slick, there's a large risk factor in it.
It's a really special racetrack. The racetrack is kind of the cornerstone of the sport.
July race under the lights, it just kind of adds that little mystique. It's a wild ride for sure.
Ride for sure as we get ready for the Monster Energy Cup Series first practice from Daytona International Speedway. And we saw and heard from Dale Earnhardt Jr. as he is getting ready for his final race in the Monster Energy Series at Daytona International Speedway. And how big is that race? Well, if you think about it, outside of this facility, which was built in 1959, there are two statues. There's a statue of Bill France. There's also a statue of Dale Earnhardt. And you think about the magnitude of what the Earnhardt name has meant to this sport and this very track. That makes this race, the final race for Dale Earnhardt Jr. at this facility, even bigger.
Well, it does make it bigger, and it's at a time in his career where he needs something big to happen. They've got themselves far enough back in the points where it's almost in a position where they need to win. Coming to what is his strongest racetrack, is that pressure too much? They haven't really had the speed on the plate races this year that we're accustomed to seeing, so they're going to have to step up as a team, and he's going to have to step up as a driver to make this happen.
Well, you talk about that speed, I think it comes back to the handling of the 88 car. Dale Jr., when he dominated the plate tracks, he was top to bottom, inside to outside, aggressive, blocking. He drove the aggression. And in the last 5 or 6 races, Jeff, I feel that's gone away. I feel the younger crowd has taken over. Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson. We've seen those three consistently at the front of the pack making those daring moves. And we don't mean coming to the checker. They make those daring moves at lap 5, lap 10, lap 20 to keep that track position.
Yeah, you think about Junior at plate races, you're thinking about him leading laps, forcing the tempo, making those moves, and he just has not done that this year. I think he's led 8 laps all year on the plate races, and that's just not what we expect from Junior. So it's going to have to be better. This weekend, it's going to have to be better than what we've seen in the previous 2 plate races.
Well, Rick, this is going to be the story all summer. As these veterans step away from victory lane, we see a big list of veterans in the winless column. Someone has to fill up that column. Kyle Larson, we're riding on right now with the 42 car, he's doing his part. He is getting the victory lane, and not just winning races, but he's winning practices. He's fastest in practices. He's sitting on poles consistently, Jeff. The 42 and perhaps the 78 are the 2 cars that everyone shoots for.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And you can see their strategy for today, obviously, is to go out and make a single car run, understand what kind of speed they have. It'll be interesting to see if they do get back in a pack and try to run inside the pack. We saw in the Xfinity practice where a wreck happened in the pack. That's the only reason you wouldn't do it, is because you'd be afraid of being in that wreck.
Momentum definitely on the side of Chip Ganassi Racing, and specifically Kyle Larson. 2 wins already in 2017. He got his first win a year ago.
So as we ride around, people talk to me all the time about Daytona and what it's like to drive in Daytona. Well, right now, Kyle Larson, what he's doing is not difficult. It's ride around by yourself, be real smooth on the steering wheel, make the racetrack as small as you can. You're running wide open, no problem. It's easy to do. And you can see by watching him, it's not a lot of wheel movement. There's not a lot of things going on. That's all going to change. On Saturday night, when you get in that pack and you start racing with other people, then the world completely changes. But what he's doing right now is not very difficult, Steve.
No, he's not lifting.
Well, that's for sure. I won't say it's easy, like a race car driver would say it's easy, but it's exponentially easier than what he's going to be asked to do when 39 of his closest friends get out there and try to, take his position and move him around the racetrack.
And he never lifts. That's one of the good things as we listen to what's going on with this car.
Well, and you hear him never lift, and that really is what cost him the Daytona 500. Think about this. Kyle Larson, before he won those 2 races this year, had only 1 win ever in his career. Last year, comes in, he's leading the closing laps of the Daytona 500, which ended up being a few mileage race. Went down into turn 1, had the moves, had the blocks, and just simply ran out of fuel.
And now let's go to the garage and Marty Snyder.
Well, Rick, Steve mentioned a moment ago, Kyle Larson certainly one of the stars in 2017 here in the Monster Energy Series, and he has made it known that he is not a big fan of restrictor plate racing. I asked him that earlier this week on NASCAR America, but he said, you know what? Even though he came so close to winning the Daytona 500, you guys mentioned that, I still just don't feel like I'm very good at restrictor plate racing. But as I've developed in my Cup career, I have more people working with me, more drivers working with me on the racetrack, and that certainly has helped. What you're going to see the 42 team do today, single car runs all day long. He told me, I don't want to be in a big pack. I feel like you don't learn the right things in a big pack. You only get about 8 cars in a big pack. Saturday night we'll have 40 cars in a big pack. That's way different feel-wise behind the wheel in an 8-car pack and a 40-car pack. So, Jeff, you know that feeling completely different on Saturday night than what you can replicate here in practice today.
Well, it is completely different. I'm a little surprised they're not running in a pack, though, because this is a new tire. The teams that tested said this tire was drastically different than the old tire. So I don't know if that fall-off is going to make handling important. If it does, then I think it's a disadvantage. But, Steve, look at this pack. What do you see that's unique about this pack that's different than what we've seen here in the past?
Hey, listen, this is the group I just talked about last night on NASCAR America. Who was I got to watch in the 4th of July race at Daytona? The Blue Oval, the Fords. They have dominated. We saw Kurt Busch win the Daytona 500. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the 2-time Xfinity Series champion, finally break through and win at Talladega. And here they were all lined up, working with one another, understanding where their speed is, what they need to do. And here's on the other end of the racetrack, it's the Chevrolet Brigade. We have Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., all leading a bunch of Chevrolets.
And it was an interesting win for Kurt Busch because he had never won on a restrictor plate racetrack. And so for him to be able to get that first win, and it comes at the biggest race of the year, the Daytona 500, and the fact that they had transitioned from Chevrolets the year before to Fords, and that was the first race of the season for
So,
them.
Rick, I'm probably guilty of this. Trying to orchestrate practice, trying to limit risk when I was a crew chief and in charge of one of these race cars, but I don't like this. I'm not a big fan. This is too small of a pack. I don't think that the air is going to be the same as it is in a big pack. There are a bunch of teammates or a bunch of like manufacturers. I think that makes a difference. What is Dale Jr. learning here? He's learning that Jimmy Johnson, his teammate, has something, or the other driver behind him, Chase Elliott, has something. I think he knows what they have. He's sitting in the same type of race car. I think these cars would be better off out there running with the competitors, the Fords, the Toyotas, cars they're going to have to try to beat.
But the reason they do this is they're trying to limit that risk. And they all have gotten together and built a plan. Here's what we want to learn, and here's how we want to learn it. We're going to do these tests, these sessions this way. And check out this view, Rick, this back cam. Look how fast that camera's moving down the back straightaway.
The camera gets up to 100 miles an hour, and you see as the cars go right on by the camera in turn 3. But that's down the backstretch here at Daytona.
That is going to create some unbelievable shots. I mean, the things that happen down the back straightaway, 2 wide, 3 wide. This is one of the few racetracks here in Talladega, of course, where more cars wreck on the straights than do in the corners. We see a lot of wrecks that happen because people are trying to get into a hole, trying to push somebody. Those wrecks happen on the straights, where in most racetracks, the wrecks happen in the corners.
Well, the other thing that's kind of interesting, while I do think the Ford group is a little more organized, they're faster. The Ford group is running 4620s. The Chevrolet group's running about 4650s. Now we see the Ford group get into the 45-second break. That's almost 196 mile an hour average around this 2.5-mile facility, Rick.
And they're not slowing down a lot when they get into the turns. I mean, they're carrying a lot of speed throughout the turns because of the banking here at Daytona International Speedway. So much banking that they're leaning on when they go through 1 and 2 and also 3 and 4. The battle between Ford and Chevrolet, it starts in the very first practice. Ford has actually won the last 5 plate races. That's their longest streak. The Chevrolets, they're winless in the last 7 plate races. So that's the longest streak that they have been winless at plate races. Once again, we showed you a different perspective. NBC will continue to give you cutting-edge technology. As you see, look at these cars, how crisp and clear the cars are. And we're riding, it feels like we're riding alongside these cars in Daytona as they go by at, like you mentioned, over 195 miles an hour average here at Daytona. The fastest in the Ford group is Kevin Harvick. The fastest in the Chevrolet group, Ty Dillon. Start off practice for the Monster Energy Series.